Alright, so what's up guys? So we are out here on another run, out here doing this craziness for all you guys who simply sit back, watch, admire, and enjoy as we're racing to beat the sunset. Alright, trying to make as much use of it as we can within the time we have allotted, right? And you know, for you, one big thing is the idea of self-worth, right? Where do you feel that you stack up within your environment, right? With the people that you work with, that you associate, your friends, right? All of that factors in to your own assessment of your worth, right? AKA your self-worth. And you know, for you want to figure out ways to improve it, raise it, skyrocket it, make it better. And you know, don't worry, because we are going to give you tips in order to raise your self-worth. Tip number one is the super obvious one, and it is to work towards something, right? It doesn't have to be the biggest, loftiest goals in the world, but you know, the whole idea behind it is that you are working on something, right? You're working on yourself, right? You're a tree that is growing, right? Not one that is dying, right? Because if you think of a dying tree, it's one that is falling into the floor. And you know, essentially that's what it boils down to, right? You're seeing yourself get better and better every day, right? As little as it may be, right? You may not have the $1 million that you've always wanted, but you're, you know, a couple $100s closer to it and closer. And you know, that's what it's all about, right? Because if you think about it, that $1 million isn't really going to raise your self-worth, right? Not as much as someone who is working towards it, right? Once you get it, right, the whole great feeling of happiness from it, or almost like a confidence that it exudes, is fleeting, right? Because when you get that $1 million, all you're gonna want to do is get another one, and then 10 million and 100 million, right? It'll never be enough. So by realizing that, you want to stress more importance, you know, on improving yourself, on the state of improving, right? Not, you know, the outside markers, right? The milestones, the trophies, the prizes, and ultimately the finish line. Because for all of us, we are all going to reach that finish line, right? It's death, right? And that's okay, right? It sounds like quite a scary one, but we are all moving towards it every day, right? And it doesn't necessarily matter whether or not you get there, because you will, but what you do on your way to getting there. As you get closer and closer towards it, what are you doing? Are you dancing and enjoying your life and working towards the best version of yourself, or are you living in fear and quiet desperation, which is what so many people live in, right? In such a mode of scarcity and fear. And you know, essentially to get around that is to be someone on a mission, someone working towards something. And that, you know, is essentially tip number two, is to find your purpose and your mission, right? Because not only is someone that feels great about themselves, is working on themselves, right, to improve themselves, but someone with a high self-worth has a mission, right? Something that drives them, something that gives them a deeper psychological meaning behind whatever it is that they're doing, right? Beyond, you know, the whole money and fame and everything, right? Are you trying to, you know, overcome a childhood that you felt wasn't enough, wasn't, you know, right? And you want to overcome it and make your children's childhood much better, right? Or, you know, you had a bully when you were younger, right? And you want to not defeat that bully by beating them up, but with your own success, right? Find what it is that drives you and work towards it, right? Do it, just do it, right? Like Nike. And what you're gonna find is that by you know, going on that battle, going on that journey, you're gonna be happy, right? You almost think of it like soldiers going to battle. They don't simply just send a bunch of people out to fight a big, scary fight, right? Because that's what life is. It's dangerous. There's a lot of unknown. There may be a lot of fear that you may accumulate if you're not ready for it. But in order to get, you know, through that battle, they train them, right? Not just physically, but psychologically. They give them the reason why they're there fighting the battle and how great it would feel, you know, to accomplish the mission, right? Understand that, right? They raise the self-worth of all the people fighting the battle, every one member of that army, because in order to get the most out of them, the best output, those people in the army have to feel great about themselves. And the same thing goes for us, right? We got to feel great about ourselves. We have to have a mission, right? Understand what we're doing, what battle we're fighting, and only from then will you be able to raise your own self-worth and do it. So tip number 3 in regards to raising your self-worth is to, you know, win, right? Accumulate wins. And also, guess what? Losses. But because the losses teach you. The wins might give you a trophy, right? A bunch of stuff that you might collect, but essentially it's not that important, especially when you consider the awesome thing that losses do. And we mentioned it, it's teach you, show you new ways to grow and get better, right? Show you what you're lacking, right? Because when we feel that our self-worth is low, right, we feel horrible about ourselves, because when we let these losses get to us, right? Because we were so used to winning, but when one loss comes around, we let it get to us. We let it shake us, right? Make us forget how great we are as human beings, right? We are literally the most dominant species on the planet, right? What if you were born a frog or a cat, right? If you were born a cat, you might have a lucky home, a nice home if you're lucky. But as a human, we have critical thinking, right? Common sense. We can think through our problems, and by that virtue, we can take our losses and learn from them and grow, right? And by the same virtue, we can take our losses and hurt us, make us feel horrible about ourselves, doubt ourselves, become complainers and whiners, people who wouldn't be looked up to in any society. So by that virtue, acknowledge your wins and your losses, and you will start to see that you will raise your self-worth, right, with the proper action and attitude towards each event, whether it's a win or a loss. So tip number 4 in regards to raising your self-worth, that's one thing that so many people don't do, right? And here's an obvious one, and it's exercise, right? So many people, you know, simply rationalize and make excuses as to why they don't do this, right? They may not have enough time, they may feel tired and lazy and would rather sleep, right? But if you want to raise your self-worth, it goes beyond strengthening your mind and your intelligence, right? You are born with a body, but you're not just a brain. And, you know, essentially, why would you waste that opportunity, right? That potential growth. And essentially, you know, so many people do this, right? They neglect their body, they treat it like crap, they put horrible, harmful things in it, and you know, they're surprised when it leads into other areas, specifically mental ones, right? In regards to their self-worth. But if you take care of your body, you will be also taking care of your mind and also your self-worth. You're gonna feel more accomplished, more capable, right? That's the whole idea of self-worth. And your capability to do great things, achieve, do awesome stuff is only going to get higher and higher and higher, right? Like a domino effect, waterfall. And you know, essentially you are gonna feel great and feel awesome, right? It'd be almost like you picture a famous celebrity without self-worth, right? A rapper. Can you picture them feeling down about themselves, sad? No, they're happy, right? They feel great, they're showing off, and that's okay. That's where you want to be with that self-worth, that whole idea. And you know, those are the 4 ways to prove your self-worth. So as you say, thank you very much and goodbye.